3, 2, 1. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Pnelly Podcast, episode 5. We are live on TikTok. We got a whopping 4 viewers. Shout out to the 4. Today, I wanted to do a solo podcast and just kind of talk about, what I've been up to lately. And I want to talk about the Wolves, Wild, a little bit of NFL. I only have about 30 minutes to do this. I got night class tonight. But I just got done recording 10 minutes of a whole podcast. Well, not the whole thing, but just 10 minutes. And unfortunately, something happened. My iPhone connected to my laptop, and then it messed up the mic. So we're back. Cue the theme song. All right, welcome back, everyone. Pnelly Podcast, episode 5. So I wanted to start off just kind of giving you guys an update on what's going on. The last episode, everything kind of got messed up with the audio. I don't know why. It's still running through that trial and error, guys. I told you. I really struggle with technology sometimes. I'm good with the phone. When it comes to laptop and you got to do files, MP4s, MP3s, connections, this, that, I swear something messes it up on purpose for me. I swear it's the man. For those of you who really know me, we got to blame the man. But we're actually live on TikTok. Like I said, I want to do this more often. I just not sure how it all, how this all works, how it all looks. For some reason, TikTok has this filter on me. I don't know how to turn it off. I wish I knew how to. I don't like the way it makes me look. It's too enhanced. I don't know. I don't really care about filters. But it's on for some reason. But like I said, I've been busy. A lot of you guys know I'm a senior in college. So with that comes a lot of great responsibility of applying for jobs, job interviews, classes of all sorts. Last week I had a night class. I have a night class every Wednesday. It's an entrepreneur class, pretty decent class, but had to miss the Celtics game for it, which was tough because it's the Celtics. You don't want to miss out on the Celtics game. But luckily, my boy Colin was there, sending me some videos. I was able to put up some content. So shout out to Colin for sending me those. Colin in the booth for those of you guys who are interested in. But yeah, like I said, I've been trying to get some guests on. I've had some on here and there. I need to get the podcast gear before I can have someone else on with me. Just because I don't want to have the whole phone thing. It works well. The audio works well for the most part until I have to line it up in Audacity, and it starts to not work. And I need to have something. I found something on Amazon. I'm just kind of waiting. I'm doing more research before I actually pull the trigger, because as a broke college student, you want to get something and then have to return it and all that good stuff. But nevertheless, I want to get into a little bit of Wolves talk. Today is Tuesday, the 21st. The Wolves play the Atlanta Hawks tomorrow. Every game from here on out is do or die. We need to win. We need to win out. We want a playoff spot. We don't want a play-in. We'll take it if we have to. We want a playoff spot, But the Wolves face the Hawks tomorrow. It's a game they should win. And on some interesting news, Cat and Ant are both listed as questionable. And rumor around Wolves Twitter, shout out to Wolves Twitter, is that the Wolves took the tarps off the seats, which is annoying. Or not, it's annoying that they have those tarps on, but according to Wolves Twitter, they got the tarps off the seat for Cat and Ant's return, which is pretty huge because that means it'll be a sold out crowd tomorrow, which would be amazing. And I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm trying to make it, but it's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough. But if they play tomorrow, that would be huge. I really hope Cat plays tomorrow more than Ant. I don't know. Only Ant knows how good his ankle is feeling. But Ant's also got that dog mentality that he could break his leg and he'd still want to be out there. So I feel like we should wait a little bit on Ant. That's just my personal opinion. I saw the video and it just looked I don't know. He was in pain. It was weird. It was sad to see him in the pain he was in, because the way I look at Ant, he's one of those players that is always playing, and I'm not, I just can't picture him ever getting injured. He's one of those players that you just can never picture actually getting injured like that. And to see him on the ground holding his ankle, it was a tough scene for me to watch. I was bummed out. I'm the same age as him too, so I'm just like, damn. But luckily, he was doing a little bit better, or supposedly he's doing a little bit better. I just hope we don't rush it, because we need him for the potential postseason run that we all hope that we're gonna make and have happen. But with that being said, Cat, he's publicly come out and said, listen, I'm ready to play, and there's been some weird confusion with the Wolves talking about, you're not really kind of keeping the media in the dark. And as you guys know, I'm a part of the media technically. And we haven't really, no one really knows what's going on. We're hearing things every single day. It's different, but this has been the most biggest groundbreaking news about Cat's return, and I guess Ant's return, if you want to call it as well. And we could use it because with Cat being out so long, he needs to get back in there. He needs get that chemistry back. Feel that the actual game flow, because once it's playoffs, it's a totally different style of play. And Austin Rivers had talked about that on his podcast a couple days ago. Then they had brought up how Ja's missed, I don't know, I'm gonna say like 10 games, and Ja was like, Rivers was like, I'm worried about if, like, one of the things is the chemistry. With Ja being out so long, is that going to mess something up? Is that going to mess up chemistry for when you jump into playoff basketball? And then that got me thinking, well, what about Cat? He can't just jump in at the playoff time. It's a totally different animal. And so I'm really lobbying for him to get out there and, to do his thing, get the rust off. Because, he's probably been practicing. I'm not able to go to the practices. But he's been practicing. He's been shooting around. I've seen videos. But, let's get him on the court. We need it. Us Wolves fans, I'm a Wolves fan first, media person second. We want another playoff push. And last year was amazing, obviously from a content standpoint, but just being in the building and seeing these fans, get into it, because it was the first time they had been in the playoffs since I think 2018, I believe, and then before that it was like a long. I want to say it was almost like 2004, could be. But we want that to happen. We want the playoffs. We want Cat to come back. Like I said, I want Ant to come back tomorrow too. That'd be huge. Or today, depending on when I get to upload this. But it's, like I said, I just hope we're not rushing anything. But I'm hoping to maybe go to the game. We'll see what I can make happen. If my night class get done early and I can make it down, that'd be great. I know Colin said he might try to make it there too as well. So regardless, I'm trying to get you guys some content. But I actually attended the Wild though. This past weekend, I got to see the GOAT, Alexander Ovechkin, play against the Wild, and it was a phenomenal game. Man, it was amazing. It was playoff-like atmosphere at XL Energy Center. I've been to a couple of those playoff series before, and they are fun, and I'm looking forward to it because as of now, the Wild do have a spot in the playoffs. It looks like not for surely locked, but it looks like here within the next couple of weeks, they keep playing the way they're playing, it's going to be a lock. And that's exciting. It was a sold-out crowd. I believe it was like 19,200 people in there in the old XL Energy Center. Phenomenal stadium. We got there. We ate. I was there with my partner, Nick. It was his birthday. Shout out to Nick. But we got there. It was a great time. We ate. Like I said, we ate a good meal. I'm going to have that up on my TikTok. I'm going to start rating some of these media meals because, you know what? I feel like they deserve some recognition because some places – Vegas Golden Knights, Minnesota Vikings, when they used to give me passes, amazing, 10 out of 10. But in some other places, we're not going to name names, but it could be doing better. Could be doing better on the prices and the food. But we ate. We got the traffic going in the XL Energy Center was insane. I don't know. I guess it's sold out. So I mean, maybe we just didn't get there earlier, but we tried to pull into that River Center ramp, and it was just packed. The line was insane. We went the wrong way a little bit, and so we got in there in time to eat, but we didn't have time to go down. I wanted to go up close to the boards and get some warm up footage of Ovi, but with hockey it's a little different, and so we didn't have time. But I did get to put up on YouTube the Wild Light laser show and player introduction that they do. I think it's the best in the NHL. I know Vegas does a good job, but for when I went and covered the Vegas versus Dallas Stars back in, I believe, I think January, it was good. They did a good job, but I think the Wilds is more aesthetically pleasing. Now, when it comes playoff time, I think everyone does like a different sort of show before or than they do in the regular season. And I've seen clips of the Las Vegas Golden Knights playoff show, and it's pretty insane. So both of those are up on my YouTube channel. Peyton Nelson or Pnelly Media. I don't know which one it comes out on there, but they're up on my YouTube channel. But I think the Wild have the best one in the NHL. I haven't been to every single one. I haven't seen every single one, but the Wild do a dang good job on doing it. But so I got that footage, and then we just started watching the game, and the Wild scored 2 goals early. Not Matt Dumba, Matt Boldy got a hat trick, so he scored the 2 goals. And then Nick got it on video. It's on my TikTok. Luckily he was recording, but Ovechkin lined one up right in front of us. Of course, I was trying to do some editing or something on my laptop. Boom, just smacked it, slap shot, top shelf. Scored another one too, but that one was a little further from us. That was super cool to see. I guess I witnessed history, because when he passes, if he passes, which I'm pretty sure he's going to, passes Gretzky for all-time scoring, I got to see the process leading up to it. 2 of them, actually. So it was a very action-packed game. Lots of fighting. I know that there was a big hit, towards the end. Matt Dumba hit one of the defensemen for the Capitals. It was a clean hit, shoulder to shoulder. They reviewed it. It's up on my TikTok. I know a lot of people are kind of talking about it in the comments, whether it was clean. Some even Wild fans have stated they don't think it was clean. It was definitely a big hit. But it is hockey, and it was clean. The refs took time to look at it. If it was, so. But that, sparked some fights. Before that, there were a couple fights, but all in all, it was one of the best hockey games I've been to. That's what I said about the Dallas Stars and Calgary Flames one I went to a couple weeks ago. But this one had everything. It had a hat trick. It had Ovechkin scoring 2 goals. And it had some fights, multiple fights, which, as a hockey fan, I love to see. I know some people. I want to know, what do you guys think about the fights? What do you guys think about the hockey fights? I like them. I think, with the amount of times these players butt heads every single time the goalie covers up a puck, it's like you may as well let it happen once a game. As long as the refs do a good job with, as soon as the players go down, the players and the refs both do a good job of just getting them broken up, because as soon as you get on the ground, it's not the problem of people fighting on the ground, it's the blades of the skates. You don't want to get a cut on the wrist, cut on the throat, whatever. I was in my sports medicine class a couple weeks ago. We were talking about incisions, and she showed the goalie from the Buffalo Sabres from I think it was 10 years ago, who got a cut on his throat, and it was not a good time. Not a good thing to watch, and probably not a good time for the goalie either. So, but I think the fighting's okay to do, because nothing makes me more mad in the leagues, with the NBA and the NFL, and these guys they're beefing, let's just say Dylan Brooks and Draymond, they're beefing on and off the court. And it's like, what, we would like to see them, go at it a little bit, as long as it's just one-on-one. I'm sure there's good reasons why they don't have it in other sports, but I've always wondered, why can you fight in the NHL, but you can't in the NBA, NFL, MLB? They do let it happen sometimes, but what's different is that they will give you game suspensions rather than just a penalty, 2 minutes or 10 minutes in the penalty box. Now, I'm sure there's been some cases where players have gotten suspended games for fighting. Maybe it's a certain style they did or something they did before to lead up to that fight. But I personally like the aspect. I think it fires up the crowd. It fires up the team. As long as it's not every single, every other play and stuff like that. It's not too, people are getting too injured. You don't want that. But I think it's a good thing. It's good marketing. Because, who doesn't like a good NHL fight? I know, like I said, as long as everyone's staying safe, the blades stay away from, all the players, why not let the boys go? These teams see each other 3-4 times a year. You're going to create those sort of rivalries with certain players, especially if you have an enforcer. I know Ryan Reeves, him and Dumba are kind of the enforcers on the Wild. And, I went down to the locker room after the game, and Dumba, I'm 6 foot. I don't know how tall he is. I think he's about maybe 5'9", 5'10". But man, he's a demon on them skates, man. I was standing next to him, and Ryan Reeves, he's tall. He's taller than me. He's got to be 6'3". I'd look it up. I don't really want to mess around with my laptop. We got the Audacity going, so I don't want to have something get unplugged or stop recording. But man, he's one of the other Wild enforcers, and man, I wouldn't want to mess with him. They both look like they can pack a punch when it comes to checking, and obviously fighting. And I think that people like that. It gives the defensemen and maybe not the goal scorers another role on the team. And I think it's much needed. I kind of wanted to talk about this because they talked about it in the most recent podcast, Austin Rivers podcast. I think it's Beyond the Ringer or Behind the Ringer, something like that. They talked about NBA enforcers and how important it is to have someone to back up those all-stars, because you can't have these all-stars who are the main point scorers getting these technical fouls, getting in these fights, whatever. So you need to have these enforcers, like people like Draymond Green and Dylan Brooks, and I don't really know who the enforcer is really for the Wolves to kind of help out Anthony Edwards and Cat. It was Pat Bev, but everyone can hold their own in the leagues, but you don't want your main person always getting in the fights. There's very little times you see, especially in the NHL, people like Kirill Kaprizov or McDavid or Ovechkin actually getting in fights, because they always have their enforcers come and back them up. And I think that's a cool position that's very underrated and deserves more attention, because they're helping protect, whether or not the star player wants to fight or not, they're helping protect them, because all it takes is one punch hitting someone's visor or something, broken finger. You don't want any of that. But continuing on with the Wild game, sorry I'm getting a little sidetracked, but the Wild game, like I said, it was amazing. Had a lot of fun. The Wild won, and like I said, after the game, went down to the locker room. Got some good sound. I didn't really ask any questions because when I go to those Wild games, it's tough because I'm not used to it yet. I don't when I go to the Timberwolves games, I kind of know who's going to be where, what's going to happen. I don't have locker room access to the Timberwolves. I didn't know how to do it, for one, and for two, at the beginning of the year, I didn't think it'd be necessary. I wasn't lobbying for it. I was just happy to get a season pass. But now that I'm a little bit more far along with the Pnelly media and all that good stuff, I kind of wish I did, because that would be huge, especially because I'd be a lot more comfortable going and asking the Timberwolves players questions than the Wild players questions, just because I keep up with the Wild a little bit, but not as much as the Timberwolves. I don't make it down to the Wild games as much as I'd like. But I hope you guys know, when the playoffs start, though, I will be at every single one that I can humanly possibly make, because it's the playoff atmosphere. I love it. But I went down in the locker room and I just stuck my phone out, got some sound. I put it on my Facebook in the Minnesota Wild group chat, but I didn't really publicly post it, just because it was nothing crazy. I didn't ask any questions. Like I said, those reporters down there, they were kind of asking their questions, and they're pretty good at what they do, and they're a lot better questions than I would ask, because I'll be honest, I don't really write any up during the game. The main questions I like to ask are what was the message in the locker room at halftime, and just sort of stuff like that, basic general things, kind of replicating the content that I have, because I don't know these players, the stats, and what they did previous games, and what their plans are in the future, and I'm willing to learn how to do that and figure that whole thing out. But it's not so much my style. I like to the organic, just kind of whatever comes to me is what I'm going to ask or what I'm going to post. I'm working on continuing to post more. As I said, school and everything has been taking up a lot of my time, and the podcast I've been wanting to get guests on, more and more, but it might have to be a solo show for a little bit. I've been able to get, shout out to the guests like Mark Holian, Ben Gilbertson. I've been able to get them on, Colin, but we're trying to get the gear. And I want to get interviews at the game, but it's a little tough in that moment, because, like I said, you're down there and there's all these reporters and everything like that. And it's I don't want to say intimidating, but it's these people who are there, the other reporters, that is their main job, and they do it so much. And they kind of have those connections with the players. Now, with me not being able to go to every game, I don't have that connections with the player, or those connections with the players. Working on it, not that they wouldn't talk to me. It's just more, it's just a lot harder, especially, like I said, when you're in the moment, you want to go up there, whatever, but I want to make sure I don't cross any boundaries or whatever. I was in the Wild locker room about 2 months ago, and I didn't know, because in previous locker rooms I've been in, the Vikings and I know the Timberwolves you can. I haven't been in the Timberwolves locker room, but you could record on your phone, a actual video record. And I didn't know in the Wild that I couldn't. I had no clue, because it's different everywhere. And I was recording the post game, whatever the player's talking. And, the guy there's some dude that tapped me on the back and respectfully said, hey, you can't be recording, which I didn't know. I deleted the video. It was nothing insane. And now I know I can only, use memos, which is fine. But, there's just little things like that. Like being a part of the media, you kind of have to keep in mind and pick up on. I'm always a very cautious person. And, my forte is filming the highlights and, the little things like the stuff that's on the scoreboard sometimes, or fans. It's not so much the one-on-one interview with the player, but I know that it would be great content and it's something I need to learn and want to learn and I want to include inside this. But I am working on it. Like I said, bear with me. I'm going to keep continuing to, post these weekly because it's important. It's good practice that I need, the amount of times I say, I might have to do a challenge where like I go listen back to a podcast and every time there's an unnecessary or and, I might have to do like push-ups for that time. I don't know, something to tell myself to stop doing that. But so that was kind of the Wild game. It was, like I said, great time. It's going to be phenomenal to do that during the playoffs, and it's going to be electric. And I'm hoping, like I said, if I can get Wild and Wolves in the playoffs, from a fan standpoint, that'd be amazing. But also from a content standpoint, I can give you guys more of a behind the scenes about what it's like being media, which I wanted to talk about. I was in the middle of talking about this before everything got all messed up. I'm running low on time a little bit, but I want to talk about kind of my day in the life of what it's like, what I do before, let's just say, a Timberwolves game. A big Timberwolves game is coming up. So I want to kind of walk you guys through what I do so you have a better understanding of what it's like being in the media, but also what, Pnelly does on game days. I plan on actually doing a vlog like this. I would like to tomorrow, but like I said, I don't know if I'm heading to that game tomorrow. So next game I go to, I will do a full day in the life vlog of a game day experience. But basically what I like to do is I like to wake up. Obviously you got to get a little bit of breakfast in you, and then I usually have like a class or two. So I'll go to my 2 classes, and the biggest essential, I think, before going to these games, other than, what you decide to wear, is getting a good lift in. That's my favorite part. I like to make sure I get a good lift in, get kind of some of those if I'm anxious about the game and what content I'm going to record and everything like that. I like to just make sure, get a lift in, kind of just like, it helps ground me a little. So get a good lift in. After that, you got to eat a great meal after that. And then I go rent equipment. So whether that be, I used to bring a camera every time. Now I don't, because I don't really vlog as much at these games, which I wish I did. But even if I do, it's easier to do it on the phone, because the more stuff you have, it's just the harder to keep track of, especially at the Wolves. They're nice enough to let us sit like down by the court, but it's hard because those seats are so tight, and I got my big jacket. I got all this other stuff. So I usually go rent equipment. I try not to, do the camera that much unless it's a really big game. But I go rent my equipment, and at this time I'm still at school. And then, I gather everything up. I, decide what I want to wear. I might go to Men's Warehouse and stop at the clearance section and grab some Men's Warehouse clearance stuff, That's where I get all my stuff. So I like to make sure I dress up just because, it's nice. It always feels good to dress up. So make sure I dress up there. And then I put all my stuff in my bag, and then I just go straight shot down to Minneapolis. It's about an hour and a half drive. Usually on the way there, I listen to music, or I like to listen to a podcast, probably listen to Austin Rivers' podcast, if I hadn't listened to it prior to that, just to kind of brush up my NBA knowledge, because as you guys know, I could use it. And then I pull in to the ramp, and then after that, we're there about 2.5 hours early, because there's always content to be made, and I like to eat before the games too. That's one of the biggest essentials. You gotta eat before these games, because you get hungry, and you're there from, like I said, I get there 2.5 hours early. The actual news reporters who are writing for like the Star Tribune and like the local Minnesota stations and like the other local news reporters, they're already there. So keep in mind, I'm only there 2.5 hours early, and this is like my own little thing. I don't really need to get there until game time, but I choose to get there early because I want to get the good content. I want to get the unique stuff. And these people are already there, which is insane, which is awesome. That's dedication. I like to see that. I don't necessarily need to get there any earlier than 2.5 hours unless I'm going to do a podcast before, which I have not done yet. But I get there They check our bags, whatever. We go in, we go right to the buffet. It costs $20, which kind of sucks, but I'm hungry. Or maybe I'll stop at Chipotle, grab something, but usually I don't have time. I'm just I want to get to the game. I don't know if they make any stops because I'm going down pretty much almost at the height of rush hour, so that's always fun. But I get to the game, we eat. I like to go find my seat, set everything up, put my laptop on the charger. I have my phone charging on my portable charger before. Those are the little essentials that I need to make sure that I can make it through the whole game. And then I just kind of wait. So if it's a big team, like let's just say the Lakers, I always make sure I get there very early because the players will have their shoot around. Some players won't just because it depends on if they're coming off of a back-to-back. But I like to go, and if it's, I like to go film the shoot around. So I like, even the Wolves shoot arounds, I like just getting their stars, Ant, Cat, Gobert, whatever. I like to just go up. You can get nice and close and get some good shots of just you don't have any fans saying anything. There's no music playing. Sometimes there is, but it's nice because if there is a star like Jason Tatum or LeBron James, something like that, when they're there, you can get that just no distractions, up close content other than maybe some of the player photographers, but you have the space you need. You don't feel like, pressured or nothing like that. And that's one of the best things I like, about getting to the game super early. So then after that, I like to go back, kind of go through what I got. I need to get better at looking through or deleting videos because I tend to just kind of not. And I'm running out of storage on my phone. So we need to get back on track with that. But I like to go through with what I got, maybe upload a couple things. And then by that time, it's getting close to actual warm-ups, which is my favorite part of the probably night itself because it's very electric. The players, I'll basically get my spot and the players will come out, and depending on who's here, either if it's like a team kind of like, let's just say Atlanta, I'll maybe go get a couple shots of Trae Young, but it's more Timberwolves focus for me, getting Anthony Edwards, getting Jaden McDaniels, those stars, to put them in. I like to put those videos sometimes in the Timberwolves group chat, or just upload them, or I use them for later, to talk about. I've used a couple B-roll footages of Ant, not making the All-Star team at first. People know how I felt about that. I was not happy, but I like to get a lot of that stuff now. If it's a team that I don't see a lot, or if it has a star like LeBron James, I'm there, phones out on LeBron the whole time, just because I did it the first time when I went to see him, and it paid off. He did this crazy dunk, and that's still my most viewed video on my TikTok. So it pays off to have that going on. And then after that, I sit down and I get to my spot. I like sitting in the media suite more than sitting on the side, sitting down below on the court. It is nice to sit almost. We're in this corner, so we're not courtside, but we're pretty darn close. I like it, but the light does hurt my eyes a little bit. That's why I wear those blue light glasses sometimes. And from a workspace standpoint, I'm editing most of the game. There's very little times I'll actually watch the game and really pay attention. I'll peek at it here and there, but I like going in the suite because I can sit there, I can have my laptop, everything kind of spread out. And, it's a lot darker up there, just more of a calm feeling. I do like the electricity of the stadiums, obviously, or the arenas, but it's more of a calm feeling in there. So I go up there, I kind of do my thing, I edit, and then boom, halftime comes. You know what it is. We always got the halftime cake for the most part. It's either cake, cookies, whatever, but I like the chocolate cake. So it's always nice. I go down there, talk with my dad, all the other media people. We talk. Nice little break from the actual game, refuel a little bit, and then boom, back up for the second half. You're recording, then you're editing and recording videos and stuff. And let's just say the Wolves are winning and they're going to win. Then I book it down to the tunnel and I try to get right in position to get a video of the players coming off, dapping each other up, all that good stuff because I like it. It's always a good something, it's good to put with that tweet where I say the Wolves win, or on TikTok where I say Wolves win. It's always good to just kind of have something to show, and sometimes there's some fun handshakes that you can get on video, or there's certain things like that, and it's just a cool, unique perspective that not a lot of people get to see that I want to bring to people. But that is, and then after that is usually post game, there's the post game interviews. So that, you go back there, you go, and so I can't go in the locker room, but everyone else is. So I go get my spot to listen to the post game press conference. Normally I go to the Wolves. Now, if it's an away team that people I want to listen to, like, I went to the Dallas Mavericks. That's when I got the video of Luka's feet that kind of gained some traction. But sometimes I'll go to those. But I like to go to the Wolves, ask a lot of questions. And I don't ask too many questions. It is a little nerve-wracking. At first, I wish I had screen recordings of when I first started asking questions. Even now, I still get a little nervous. But first, I was like, it was insane how like different my voice was and just my tone of voice. I was not confident at all. I was super nervous because, at the end of the day, these are, they're human beings at the end of the day. And at that time, I just wasn't used to it. I wasn't used to sitting down there asking the questions. And like I said, I'm not a question asker. I don't know if it was in this little recording or the last recording that failed. I was talking about it, but I don't like asking a lot of questions. I don't know the stats and everything like that. Like I'm not paying attention to that during the game, so it's hard for me to want to sit there and ask a ton of questions. But I will. There are some that I actually do ask. I remember when Ant wore his robe last year to the game. I remember asking him if he was going to do that again, and he seemed to enjoy that. Other media members seem to enjoy that. I like asking the unique stuff, but there's very few times where I actually come up with something that's unique. I remember I asked Karl Towns about sports cards, which was pretty cool. He seemed to like that. Him and I actually talked about cards a little bit in the back. I was standing there with my boy Travis, aka Sneaker Reporter, and Kat came up and said what's up because Travis was waiting for Paul George. Kat was waiting for Paul George to get out of the locker room. So, he was standing there with us, and Kat's a super cool guy, down to earth, will talk to anyone and give time to anyone. And luckily he gave time to me and Travis, and Kat and I, like I said, we were talking about cards. It was super cool. But back to the press conference stuff. Like I said, it's fun to go and get some recordings and just get that information to be able to put up tweets, whatever. But asking the questions, unless if it's like a one-on-one setting with not a lot of people around, is not my forte. The more the Pat McAfee interview is more of my forte. And what's up, Drew? How's it going? I'm reading off some of the TikTok live chat. Yeah, this is Pnelly Podcast episode 5 that you're watching right now. We're actually almost wrapping up. I had a night class in 45 minutes, and I want to get this onto my laptop and all that stuff. But I wanted to wrap up with some NFL talk. Not much. I mean, I've been looking at it, peeping at it here and there. All I know, every single day it seems like Aaron Rodgers is going to the Jets, but it's not official yet. I kind of have a hunch, what if he doesn't go? What if he's just pulling everyone's leg? He says he wants to go. He literally said today, my intentions as of last Friday has been to sign with the Jets, but I don't know what's the hiccup there. I'm sure there's something out there explaining it, but why? I don't understand. That seems to be the biggest move that is intriguing everyone. I know the Jets have been making some moves. I saw that Baker Mayfield went to the Buccaneers, which, hey, that could be potentially could be good. I mean, it seems like it's probably that guy's last chance. I'm not a huge I'm not a fan. I don't dislike or like Baker Mayfield, but it's always, it'd be cool to see him do well just because it's another team to watch and another quarterback to watch. So I mean, I guess good for the Buccaneers. Obviously, they're trying to find that Tom Brady replacement. Vikings have, I don't know. I haven't really been keeping up, but it seems like they've been quiet. Sounds like we're going to keep Kirk. They actually, no, they haven't been keeping quiet. They released Adam Thielen, who signed with the Panthers. I saw a picture of him in a Panthers jersey. It was one of those photoshopped ones. But wow, that looked weird. It looked really weird. I don't know how I like that. But anything else? I'm trying to think what else there is for free agency. Like I said, it doesn't feel as crazy as previous years. I saw Jalen Ramsey went to the Dolphins. The Dolphins are going to be scary next year. I wonder if they're trying to... I know I heard the little chatter about Tom Brady going to play for the Dolphins. I don't think it's going to happen. But I wonder if Tua's going to be their guy next year, if they're going to look for someone else, or what. That'll be interesting, and an interesting situation to keep an eye on. But I guess as the days progress, we'll find out more and more about free agency, see what kind of plays everyone makes. I'm going to miss my guy, Eric Kendricks. But he's going to my Chargers, though. So I am happy about that. I'm sad he's leaving the Vikings, but I am a Chargers fan. Number 2, it's my number 2 team behind the Vikings. Even though the Vikings, my patience is wearing thin. We need to make something happen here. within the next couple of years. But happy for Eric Kendricks. Excited to see the opportunity he gets. But that's it for really NFL and honestly the Pnelly Podcast episode 5. I wanted to get something out for you guys. Solo episodes are a little hard. Trying to get better, getting better every day. But we're gonna have guests on, whatever. We're gonna have it all. We're gonna run it up. Just be patient. And I appreciate you guys tuning in. Shout out to all the people locally here that support me, like all my videos. I appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. I'm going to start uploading more on TikTok and YouTube again. Took a couple weeks of just kind of uploading here and there. I just don't want to force any content. I don't want to upload BS. But I appreciate you guys tapping in. Pnelly Podcast, episode 5. Horses don't stop. They keep going. Thanks for tuning in.
You can lose your life, but it's gonna keep going. Why not risk life when it's gonna keep going? When you die, somebody else was born, but at least we got to say we